What's up, boys? It's Nick here. I just got back from Tokyo Auto Salon 2023 and thought we should sit down and talk about some of the cool GT86 stuff that was there this year, notably the Uras and GP Sports body kits. So let's jump right into it. Starting out with something I know a lot of you guys have been looking forward to, the new drift style body kit from Uras. I mean, this thing is hot. I also inserted a few clips in here at the start of the video using my camera from 2003, so you guys can kind of feel like you're at an old school auto salon from the early 2000s. For the past couple of weeks, pictures of this body kit have been circling the internet, and a lot of people have found it to be quite exquisite. But there were plenty of people that did not have a lot of nice things to say about it. Most of that stemming from the fact that rather than a full rear bumper, Uras decided to go with more of a lip style that sits on top of the rear bumper a bit. If you're a fan of classic drift styling and a fan of the GT86, I can almost guarantee you when you see this kit in person, if you didn't like it yet, you're probably going to change your mind. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but it really gives the car an insane presence, and standing next to it for the first time, the last thing I was focused on was the line going across the rear bumper from the lip. Yeah, I agree it would have been nice to have a full molded rear bumper similar to the Fatago kit, but there are also some positives of having a half cut like this, including cheaper shipping costs from Japan. I mean, you guys know how expensive that is if anybody's ever tried to buy a body kit from Japan. Also, easeability of taking it on and off when loading your car up on the trailer, easier to work on if you break it during drifting, etc., etc. Whatever, let's move on and take a closer look at the kit. Yeah, so starting off with the front bumper here, I think this was one of the things that I saw in pictures that I liked the least, but ended up liking the most once I actually saw it in person. In pictures, it kind of looks a little bit bubbly, and it is a little bit bubbly in person, notably that area right underneath the headlights. It looks like it sticks out kind of far, but honestly, when you see it in person and once you see it in video a little bit, it doesn't look bad at all. I think they were kind of trying to push that part out in order to kind of match the lower section, that bell bottom section that kind of flares out at the bottom. I feel like if they didn't make that bubbly like that underneath the headlight, it might have looked a little bit goofy. But you know what? Overall, I like the design. Oh, and here's something I wanted to show you guys. It looks like they've actually put a little bit of mesh behind the hole areas in the front bumper. Good way to keep debris out of the wheel wells and engine bay. Alright, yeah, so here we have the side skirts. I really like the way these turned out. As you can see here, I've got my hand out, kind of trying to show you guys how wide they stick out from the car. It's kind of like a step down, the top being like, what, 4 fingers? four Nick Ramirez fingers wide, and then overall about like 6 fingers wide. Sticks out from the side of the car. Here I'm doing the finger thing again for that rear line on the rear lip. You can see it's not actually sitting flush on the bumper. It's about an inch, half an inch sticking out. Got the first look at the rear bumper. I was trying to kind of show you guys how far it sticks out with this shot right here. It's not as aggressive as you'd think. It's still pretty aggressive, but it doesn't look obnoxious at all. There's that rear wing right there. That's also a Uras rear wing. It kind of looks like a TRD wing, but it's a little bit different. I really like it. Okay, here's the side skirt again, just to show you that it doesn't sit flush on the body like a TRD skirt would. It sticks out about an inch. Looks good. Matches up with that line on the rear lip right there, as you can see. Here's the rear bumper. I had to kind of avoid Nomuken's scooter right there. He brought a scooter this year. I'm surprised it doesn't have a livery on it, but And here we get a good look at that rear wing. It looks like it sticks out a little bit further than the TRD wing and is a little bit more rounded off. But yeah, overall, looks really clean. I'm excited for it. If I had to say one thing to kind of sum up the Uras kit before we move on to the GP Sports kit, it would be that I don't want to say pictures don't do it justice, because I really do think it still looks good in pictures, but it really does look better in person than it does online. Hopefully I was able to convey that with this video and really get close and into those angles for you guys that you haven't been able to see in the pictures. And yeah, overall I'm just super hyped with it. I got a chance to speak to Nomuken Jr. very briefly, and I asked him when this kit would be available, and he said it would be available pretty soon. So for those of you that are kind of in limbo, waiting for one of these kits, whether it's the Uras kit or the Origin kit, or just go ahead and buy a kit that's already available, I would say, you know what? If you really like this kit, wait for it. I think it's going to come out sooner than later, so get excited. All right, moving on to the GP Sports kit. I would say it's just as aggressive as the Uras kit, just in a different way. It's got a heavy emphasis on those really wide over fenders. Gives the car almost kind of a GT look. And rather than having like a bell flare shape on the side skirts in the kit, it's kind of an extended flat piece. I'm not usually a huge fan of crazy over fenders or wide body. I do prefer the stock body look of the car, maybe with like a lip kit or like that Uras kit we saw earlier. But you know what? These over fenders look great. I love the lines they added to them. It still kind of pays respect to the stock body lines for the most part. And I'm looking forward to see what this kit looks like with an aggressive rear bumper as well. Because it didn't look like GP Sports created any kind of rear bumper or lip for this car. At least it wasn't mounted on the car at the auto salon. And it doesn't look like you're going to be able to run this lip without the over fenders, because it looks like if you see right here, it all kind of flows together as one piece. So yeah, that's just another thing to keep in mind. It's interesting that they went with the FRS front bumper. That's cool. All right, and the last little thing that I wanted to show you guys that I thought was interesting at the show. You guys know I love looking at random little aero pieces, and I saw this BRZ, and I had never seen these little like eyelid things underneath the headlights before. It kind of reminds me of like the TRD fender garnishes, how it kind of flares out like that. I'm not really sure how I feel about them. Honestly, this car right here isn't necessarily my style of a build. It's more of like a meant for time attack or autocross or something, but I would like to see what these look like styled on like a drift build with the TRD fender garnishes. I also saw this fender garnish here too that I hadn't seen before. It also kind of looks like a TRD fender garnish. TRD fender garnish, TRD fender garnish, TRD. Okay. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it'll be right here. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to follow along. Thank you, boys. Appreciate y'all.